Hi, welcome to Real Local. I'm your host, Kurt Broderson. This is the show where we meet local filmmakers and we get a chance to talk with them and then watch one of their recent films. Today I have with me in the studio Hannah Bristol, who's one of the producers of Out of Rutland. Hello, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you. So you're finishing up at Middlebury and you literally are just finishing up the film too. It was pretty recently out on Vimeo, and you're not a filmmaker by training at the college, so what got you interested in making a movie?
Yeah, so Kyle, who I made the film with, and I both worked on the newspaper at the college. Kyle's editor-in-chief, I'm the opinions editor, and so we had told a lot of stories together. Kyle's made a couple documentaries. I had never touched a camera in my life, but we sort of started thinking. I was taking a class through the college for my major that was looking at Rutland and sort of doing a community project there. And so I was going down to Rutland every week. And at the same time, all the coverage about the heroin epidemic was coming out in the New York Times and in the Rolling Stone. And I was talking to Kyle about it, and we were both like, we see a huge disconnect here between what I'm seeing, how this is being portrayed, and we want to sort of tell the story that we think isn't being told. And so we went down, we started meeting with people, trying to find the story we wanted to be telling. We thought we wanted to do one looking at the community policing and looking at talking to the mayor and to a cop and to a community member that was yet to be identified. And at the same time, we started looking at pro bono music. So I guess we were just looking to tell a story, and I was looking to learn how to make a film.
And so while you were looking for music, you came across Nick, who's one of the key figures in your movie, and the story developed from there. So what were some of the things that you'd been hearing about Rutland? It's not as in the news now as it was when you guys started. Mm-hmm. Do your sense of is it just the coverage has changed, or Rutland has changed?
I think the story sort of lost its sex appeal. Everyone wanted to cover Rutland, and there was sort of a flood of media there. And I think that certainly I've still read some stories about the country's opiate problem, but for a while, Rutland and Vermont was ground zero, particularly after Governor Shumlin's State of the State address. Vermont was sort of the only state that was admitting it had a problem. And so I think that Rutland's still doing, it still has the community policing, it's still looking at this problem, but it's not the story of the moment the way it was in March and April.
Right, and it was quite a story. I mean, you mentioned the New York Times, mm-hmm. Rolling Stone,
Al
Jazeera. So the Middlebury campus is in good company then, as far as reporting goes.
Yeah.
So without giving more away about the video, why don't we take a look at it? We'll be back afterwards to talk a little bit more about it, and that way we won't ruin any spoilers in the film. So if we got it queued up there, we'll go to Out of Rutland. Hannah Bristol and Kyle Fink are the filmmakers. Kyle couldn't be with us today, but Hannah's here. And we'll let the film speak for itself.
The governor of the state of Vermont, Peter Shumlin.
What started as an Oxycontin and prescription drug addiction problem in Vermont has now grown into a full-blown heroin crisis. In every corner of our state, heroin and opiate drug addiction threatens us.
This is real life. This is not some kind of fucking reality show. If you knock on someone's door around here, they know of someone who's going through something like this.
It's a crisis bubbling just beneath the surface that may be invisible to many, but it's already highly visible to law enforcement, medical personnel, social services, addiction treatment providers, and far too many Vermont families.
We need to stop complaining and do something. And I think that's something that Nick and I and the whole straight edge community is really trying to do, is that we're trying to do something.
This is about all of us. Together, we'll drive towards our goal of recovery by working with one another, creatively, relentlessly, and without division.
Rutland, Vermont can be your town, but that does not mean that we can't turn it around. My name is Nick Grandchamp. I'm 26 years old. I've been straight edge for about, probably 10 years now. I'm the guitar player and co-founder of Get a Grip, a local hardcore band here in Rutland.
My name is Sarah Schreiber. I'm 22 years old. I work at the Homeless Prevention Center as the eligibility worker, and I have been straight edge since I was 17 years old.
I grew up here in West Rutland, actually, which was kind of outside the city. Growing up, definitely lower middle class. Me and a few of my friends just really, we didn't really fit in. We were trying to find ourselves. So I kind of found music, and I had a friend who invited me to a local show. The first band played, and I legitly got like goosebumps, and I was shaking, and it was just such an overwhelming feeling of wow, and the room just went off. It was like a bomb exploding, like boom! It was one of those points in life where you literally time slows down and you're like, this is what I'm gonna do. That's where the beginning of straight edge came into our lives. I didn't really know what it meant back then, but we just didn't drink, we didn't smoke, and we were very dedicated to music and learning.
I met Nick when I was in 8th grade. We had a mutual friend in a band, and he invited me to go to his show, and Nick's band was playing that same day. And we didn't even talk. I was just looking at him across the room like a creeper, because I thought he was cute. And we just started talking, and we were friends, and he always invited me to shows. My home life at the time wasn't the greatest. I didn't agree with my mom's relationship, and kind of had like an emotional breakdown over it. And then I went to go live with my dad because it was closer to my school anyways. And his girlfriend just hates me. And she went off on me one day just telling me how horrible of a person I was because I drank at one point. And after she was done with her rant, my dad just looked at me and said, this isn't gonna work. So I called Nick, bawling my eyes out, and he said, you're gonna come live with me. And I moved in with his parents in a double wide trailer. And I've been here ever since.
We quickly wanted to just get our place of our own. So we looked around, and we couldn't really find anything in our price range except for Grove Street. The place was actually really nice. It was really cool, but it was literally on one of the worst streets in Rutland. Our name is still on the our name is still on there. I don't know if there's that. Wow, there's probably mail. We were only in here for about 2 weeks or so. I was in the apartment reading or watching a movie or something, and basically I hear like gunshots. Locked myself in my bedroom, and I had like a steak knife just in case something wrong happened. Like I didn't know what was going on outside. I just knew it was wicked close. I heard people screaming and screaming and crying, and it was pretty crazy. I waited there in my bedroom for a good half an hour, and I ended up calling my parents, and they told me there was a shooting that happened at the Stewart's. The cop pulled him over right here for a traffic, violation, and he was wanted. He had, history with gun charges and stuff. Pulled him over here, and after a while, he jetted and ran towards the back of our apartment, and I was pretty sure that he was shot dead right near the stone wall.
You can see where they changed the brick.
It was right around this area, which our house is only a quick jump of the fence right over there. It was really a reality check that things were getting worse around here, and we were now we just signed a year lease to live in the middle of it. And the courthouse is right there. Pretty much every drug dealer and user in town is there, and so close to my environment and the place, our safe place where we thought we could live.
right now going to the Serenity House, and the Serenity House is kind of like a group home where people go where they have substance abuse issues, and a lot of the time mental health is co-occurring with that. So that's why we're going there. We get calls from, you know, the hospital or Serenity House or other agencies like that to catch these people before they're discharged or released. Good, we're gonna be like right on time too. My name is Sarah Schreiber. I'm the eligibility worker at the Homeless Prevention Center. We provide case management services for people who are homeless, at risk of being homeless, in domestic violence situations, or kind of couch surfing. Couch surfing is kind of hard to define and a little hard to pinpoint. It's been stressful because you know, the clients that I have now are really high needs. I can tell you about one. She, you know, she's got pretty much every mental health issue under the sun, and it's so severe that she had to find a private mental health counselor because Rutland Mental Health wouldn't even take her. You know, every day is a new crisis because of her conditions, and it's not her fault, but you know, we have to help her through that. You know, one day it's her wanting to set the place on fire. The next day she's putting her appliances outside. The next day she's out camping and she's happy as possibly can be. It's a whole new world every day with her. It's exciting, to say the least. How many of you don't know exactly where you're going to be when you get out of here? Yeah? So what, do you have any kind of plan?
Not at this moment. I've only been here like 3 days or so, so I haven't had a chance to talk to family or anything.
Yeah? Did you have an apartment before you came here?
I actually moved out of my apartment before I came here.
Okay. So you might be, you know, someone who wants to contact us. You know, if you don't have any kind of plan at all, and you don't have any friends or family that would be willing to help you out, I really would suggest to give us a call. You know, seeing the clients that I work with and see on a daily basis, it's so easy to just judge them and say, oh, you're a scumbag because you're homeless, or you're a scumbag because you're doing drugs. But when you focus on them and you get them into case management and they start talking and you build a relationship with them, you're just able to see, okay, you were abused as a child and you didn't learn any coping mechanisms, so you turned to drugs when you were 12, you know, or you get to know their story and you get to understand why they did all these things that led to them, you know, seeming like a scumbag to society. So, you know, calling people that is never going to do anything, and I think that's something that we need to get across to, especially Rutland, because you see everybody, it doesn't matter what class you're from or what age, everybody's always calling other people scumbags. And it just adds to a terrible morale all over the whole town. Well, thank you guys for paying attention and listening. I really appreciate it. And if you want to ask me a question, you know, that you didn't want to ask in front of the group, that's fine. You can come up to me. And we'll probably shut everybody notices the cameras. We'll shut those off if you want to come up to me personally and ask a question. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, I got my backpack, I got my guitar, I got my cab. When I started Get a Grip, I had an ex-friend who was getting into heroin and stuff, and I guess we focused the band on, like, this is gonna be the first major statement in Rutland that is completely against drugs. It's really important to me being straight edge and playing and Get a Grip is all ages shows. I can't stress this enough. I booked a 2-week strictly all ages show tour. Punk rock is literally, doing what you love and doing it your way, and overall doing it yourself. You can't fool people. Like, so many bands get on stage and they say, well, we're happy to be here, and they have their thousands of dollars amps and their wireless, and they put on this big bullshit act. We're not about that. We're going out there, we're playing our music, and we're not trying to, take an hour to set up. We're here because we have a message. This is not just angry, pissed off kids who are trying to, shock factor everyone. Like, this is real. This is our community. This is the ups and downs of life. I love you.
I love you. Have fun.
Yeah. Shut the door. There's a dangerous, edgy side of punk rock that makes me come back for more, and I guess that's what this is kind of about. Hardcore and punk's really just about cutting out the fat and going straight to the point. This is what I want to say. This is what I want, how I want to say it, and I don't need anything else filler. But you say it with as much force, fury, and passion as you can. Coming up here, right here, this is actually Cleveland Ave. The house show is actually right there at that house. What's up, man? What's going on, Dave? Hey, thanks for having us, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love you. I love everyone in this room. We fight so hard to be original, creative, and it's beautiful. Everyone has left Rutland. Literally, people have abandoned this place. That's the reality. A lot of things are pretty dark and terrible around here with just everything failing. But, I haven't left because I still believe in Rutland. I still believe that this can be a beautiful place, and I want to make a change. That's why I haven't left.
I bet if you did a poll out in the city, if they wanted to live in Rutland or if they could move, if they wanted to move, I think most people would want to move. But having people that want to be in Rutland and are invested in it, not just here because I have to be here, I think that's the difference. And I think that's what Nick and I are coming from, is that we're invested in it. By living here, by working here, by wanting to stay here, to eventually raise kids here, and to keep doing good things. We want to see it be a thriving, healthy place to live, not some dump where we're only known for heroin.
Thank you very much, everybody. I just want to say real quick, I know that there's always a lot of talk about how bad Rutland is, and how bad of a city it is, and how everybody wants to move out, sort of find a better place to live. But the truth of the matter is that Rutland is just a big piece of land, and this city is only as good as we make it to be.
Oh, nice.
If we're all just sitting at home, complaining, and not putting out art into the world, we're really bringing Rutland down. You realize that, right? If we do nothing good around here, we're the ones making Rutland a bad place to live. Let's make it a good place to live. I see a bunch of creative people in here, and honestly, this basement could be the start of something big.
is Straight Out of Rutland. You're watching Real Local. I'm here with Hannah Bristol, who one of the filmmakers. Kyle Fink being the other one who isn't here today. Let's talk about the movie a little bit. So you mentioned beforehand that you really had never picked up a camera before.
Yeah.
So first of all, kudos on your first film there.
Thank you.
Nicely done. But you're certainly not a beginning storyteller. How was that kind of moving from print journalism into using visual to tell your story?
It was an interesting challenge because I guess my background is that I've done a lot of community organizing and then I've done a lot of journalism, and those two skill sets ended up being actually very useful in making this film. Particularly, I knew how to have one-on-one meetings with people and sort of tease out that story, and used a lot of that in terms of getting to know Nick and Sarah and getting to know the community, and then just sort of crafting a story and finding the narrative arc, because that was definitely the most challenging part for us when we were getting going. We have these 3 different threads, and you can see that in the film with Nick and Sarah in the beginning. We wanted to explain their relationship, we wanted to talk about Sarah's job, and we wanted to talk about Get a Grip. And the challenge was figuring out how to tie all that together and into one tightly knit story. So we spent a lot of time sort of drawing out different things, and we made a little circle of the story. And that I think came a lot from writing a lot in school, writing a lot for different stories for the campus or for any other print journalism I've done. But the sort of way of thinking about how to add a visual component was new and really interesting to learn.
And you said that Kyle had made some videos prior to this, so he brought some experience to it. Was it just the two of you as the filmmakers?
Yeah.
Where else did you get support and assistance from? I mean, I know there were a number of people listed in the credits there. My name's up there. Did you? I know shooting in Rutland, there's a public access station there. Did you touch base with them?
Yeah, so they helped us get the footage at the beginning, the footage of Shumlin's State of the State address. And yeah, Kyle and I did all the shooting, all the editing. We had 2 or 3 people, his dad took a look at our final cut, and a couple of our friends looked and gave us some feedback. So, it takes a village, and we definitely had a lot of help. So everyone who we talked to who gave us some advice, we thanked in the end, because we really couldn't have done it without that many people.
Yeah. And it's one of the things I'd like to kind of see more of and encourage is, sort of a community of filmmakers where, here's a story that comes up. It's, it was very organic. It was happening. You guys went down intending to tell one story, maybe finding that there was something else. But if there were a community of people who said, "Oh, I can bring a camera to this. Mm-hmm. I know a lot about editing. I'm a musician," and kind of pooling those resources locally. And I'd love to see more films come out where there's really a group pulling them together. So hopefully, your example is a good one. There are great films being made in Vermont about Vermont, by Vermonters. So you're in your last semester at Middlebury. You mentioned community organizing and journalism being kind of important skill sets and background for you. What do you want to do with those moving on into the future?
I'm really not sure. I'm sort of trying to figure it out, trying not to worry about it too much. I'd love to do something with community organizing. My major is environmental policy. I really love journalism, sort of finding a way to weave all 3. But I think that exactly what you're saying about the community of filmmakers, to me that's sort of the crux of anything you do, is finding a good community and highlighting a community. And we had a premiere for Straight Out of Rutland in July where we had 100 plus people came. We raised $500 for the Serenity House that was in the video. And, as much as I loved telling the story and putting the video together, the most beautiful part of it to me was having that community event and seeing how tightly knit everybody was, and bringing something that I think the community could be proud of, because that was our biggest fear going in as outsiders, is going in trying to tell a story, and we wanted to tell the story we found, not the story we thought we were going to find. Mm-hmm. And so I guess tying in those skills, those things that I like, and trying to find a career path or a couple career paths that would let me do that. and Kyle is making videos. He's works for Sports Illustrated right now, so he definitely wants to continue doing documentary filmmaking, and that's something that I'm open to doing as well, to make another film. Shot my first film by myself this summer, 2-minute piece on a room filled with balloons. So, so I
have to
guess I'm
watch
learning
that
skills.
later.
yeah, it's not quite as prolific, but
Right. Not yet ready for prime time, but
no, but I was very nervous. I was like carrying all the equipment, and it's the first time I shot it by myself. I was very, very proud of my little balloon party piece.
well, you guys did a great job with this. Thanks for doing it. I think it's good to see more to the story. After kind of seeing a one-sided view when the story kind of first started coming out. We just got a minute here. You have any plans for other videos coming up that you're thinking of?
I think we'd both love to work together again and make another piece. We've sort of talked about this idea of sort of a story untold, going to places that have been kind of burned by the media. I was just in North Dakota. I'm writing my thesis on the oil boom out there, so I spent the last 3 weeks of August doing that, and that would have been a terrific story as a place that's been hyper-exposed by the media, and finding ways to sort of highlight the community or highlight aspects that haven't been shown. So we'd love to do another piece in a similar vein, but it's just a matter of finding in the post-grad haze what
Right.
where you can find time and what kind of stories you're able to tell. So
Great. Well, thanks for coming in today.
yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I'm happy to help you get the word out, and hopefully people will see your film. And if you are interested in making a film, if you're a filmmaker, Middlebury, Addison County, Vermont, please contact us. We'd be interested in helping you out and having you on the show. Thanks so much, Hannah. And next time, we'll hopefully have another episode of Real Local coming up, and the next filmmaker can kind of step up to the plate or the chair. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.